What is going on, IF Warriors? So today we got a gentleman who is talking about why you're doing fasting wrong, or why you're doing intermittent fasting wrong. Now, let's go ahead. I watched the video. Let's watch the video together and see what are we doing wrong with intermittent fasting. Here we go.
If you tried intermittent fasting, it didn't work for you, chances are you didn't do it properly. Here's how I went from this to this with intermittent fasting and doing it the right way. The whole science of intermittent fasting is to keep your insulin levels low. The moment you start fasting...
That's not true. The whole science with intermittent fasting is not simply to keep your insulin levels low. It does help keep your insulin levels low throughout the day, throughout the weeks, because you're not consuming anything, and what spikes your insulin is carbohydrates, glucose. But really, you're building what's called insulin sensitivity. You're also partitioning body fat, triglycerides, your fatty acids, basically, to use as fuel. That's the science of it. It's what you're doing behind the scenes, not only keeping your insulin levels low. So that's already not exactly accurate, but let's continue.
Your insulin starts going down. So Karen, how long have you been fasting? 17 and a half hours. And now, before she breaks her fast, she's going to take fiber to break that fast. She's got Chipotle right there because we're out. She's mixing that. That's going to control her insulin from spiking.
What is that thing that's controlling her insulin from spiking? The best way to control your insulin from spiking is you don't have to put whatever, I don't know what that is, into water. All you have to do is make sure that you're consuming items that are low in the glycemic index to break your fast. We get it. When you fast for a long time, well, if you don't get it, what the actual scientific data is on breaking your fast. When you fast for a long time, your insulin is on what is called a springboard. So it's craving for some type of glucose, some type of carbohydrate, so that it can spike up, right? And it's going to try to spike up really high. The way you counteract that is by breaking your fast with something that's low on the glycemic index. Something like an apple, for example, is a perfect tool to break your fast because it's low in the glycemic index. It then increases, it then sends up your insulin, of course, it excretes insulin, but your insulin, because it's low on the glycemic index, your insulin does not actually spike all the way up. It gets its fix, and then whatever you eat after that, it's much more controlled. It's not in that like massive springboard. So it's actually more important to consume something that's low on the glycemic index than it is to consume something that has fiber in it. However, fiber is super good for you, so make sure you're consuming fiber on a daily basis, or whenever you're during your eating window.
Also, I've been fasting about 8 hours. I had an early meal.
He said he was fasting for 8 hours. That's not a fast, my man. 8 hours is not a fast, Rav Malik. I'm sorry to break it to you. That's like going to sleep and waking up. That's like eating right before you go to bed, going to sleep, waking up, and eating again. 8 hours is not a fast in any way. You are literally doing zero things if you've only fasted for 8 hours.
This morning, and I've been fasting 8 hours. So I have my balance here, which is going to control.
And then he's about to eat all of that after just an 8-hour fast. Not trying to say anything against what's going on here, because I don't know if he's going to eat after this. I'm not sure, but he's only fasting for 8 hours at a time. I don't necessarily think he is using intermittent fasting in the correct way, with in line with the science, where you're going to get that metabolic switch over. You're going to be in that post-absorptive range. You know, you're going to be tapping into a lot of fatty acids to switch them over to ketones to provide energy to your brain. You're going to be keeping your insulin at low levels consistently, and also trying to increase insulin sensitivity. It doesn't look like that. And he's also, that powder thing, he's not explaining what that is. I'm curious to see what exactly is he using? But I'm also seeing that he's not doing a lot of things correct. In a very ironic turn of events where he's talking about what you're doing wrong, why intermittent fasting isn't working for you, he's not fasting correctly, nor is he breaking his fast in any optimal way based off the scientific data. It's a very bizarre to see this video be so ironic.
My insulin from this meal.
So I guess that's the drink that balances his insulin from the meal. I don't know. As long as you consume something that's low in the glycemic index, you'll remove your insulin from being in that springboard of like effect, and then be able to eat without spiking your insulin so high.
Simple. Just drink, controls your insulin levels, your glucose levels, helps your cholesterol levels, gives your gut all those fibers and plant nutrients to help your body stay healthy no matter what you're doing. Remember, consistency is the key.
Yeah, that's probably the most correct thing he said in this entire video. Consistency is where you will see progress, right? Or where you will reach your goals. Because some people lose weight, they're doing intermittent fasting correctly. They think they're not doing it correctly because they're losing weight, and then they break off the intermittent fasting. They start doing other things. They're not intermittent fasting anymore. They gain the weight back, and then they look back and say, well, what did I do wrong? What you did wrong was that you just stopped doing it. If you would have kept doing it and like just be honest with yourself, and you're actually still doing it, you're not, doing it on Monday, but not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and then now you're back on it on Friday and Saturday, but then you break on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then you're back on it. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm doing intermittent fasting. Well, technically you're not. You're mostly not doing intermittent fasting, and you're not being consistent. If you're consistent with how you're eating, with doing intermittent fasting, it should work. It 100% should work, because of the fact that you're not giving your body the allotted amount of energy it needs to store body fat or maintain your weight. It has to burn fat, because you're at a net negative energy balance. All right, this video was somewhat misleading. Don't know what the powder thing is that he was drinking. You don't need to drink any specific powder thing for fiber. You actually just need to be able to eat something that's low in the glycemic index. And if you eat an apple, it has fiber in it anyways. Just eat an apple and you'll be fine. All right. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, see you in the next one. Don't forget, like, subscribe. Come on. Hit that notification bell too. I love when you guys do that. All right, guys. Peace out.